Morning, my dear students. Welcome to our Zoology online class. Okay, students, in the last class we studied about the first abiotic factor. Okay, the temperature. The temperature already we have completed in the last class. So in that temperature also we have studied about many 1 mark questions, 2 mark questions, and some 3 mark questions also. So dear students, hope you all studied all the questions in the first abiotic factor, temperature. Okay, dear students, today we are going to study about 2 more abiotic factors. Okay, that means the second abiotic factor is light and the third abiotic factor is water. So today we are going to study about these 2 factors. Okay, so listen very carefully, dear students. Many question answers are there, so listen very carefully. So first I am going to explain about the second abiotic factor, light. Okay, so light is also very important for all the living organisms. Okay, like the temperature, light is also one of the very important factors, and these factors influence the growth of the organisms, reproduction, pigmentation, formation of colors. Okay, pigmentation, the metabolic activities. Then like that, many activities or many characters of the living organisms are influenced by this light. So light is one of the very important or very essential factor for all the living organisms. Understand? So particularly the quality of the light, then the intensity of the light and the duration of the light. Quality, intensity and the duration of the light. So these 3 factors playing a very important role in the life of the living organisms. Understand a few? Understand? Then, so this light is also important for vision. That means some living organisms are seeing, looking the object with the help of the light. Without, if there is no light, the light is absent, and they cannot see any object. Okay, so light is very important for the vision also. Understand? Then light also influenced during the diapause stage, diapause season. Diapause meaning inactivity during some unfavorable condition. When the conditions are not favorable, the living organism cannot do their normal activities. So they are taking rest in inactive condition. So this condition is called diapause. This condition is called diapause. So during this time also, the light is influencing the activities or the characters of the living organisms. Understand a few? Then the next point, in many birds, okay, maximum birds, the gonads development, okay, is the gonads means the reproductive organ. Male gonad is called testis and the female gonad is called ovary. Okay, so the development of these gonads is very active during the summer season. Okay, summer season, you all know the light is very high. Okay, light is very high. So during this time only the gonads development is very high in some maximum bird species. Understand a few? So hope you are understood. Then this light also influence or determining the movement of smaller organisms. The smaller organism cannot tolerate over light. Okay, so to escape from this excessive light or high light, they are moving from one place to another place. So the movement or the locomotion in small organisms also determining the light is determining these movements of in small organisms. Understand a few? So dear students, that's all about this light. Then now we are going to study about 3 mark questions. 2 mark questions. The first one is called phototaxis. First one is called phototaxis. Phototaxis meaning the movement of organism in response to light. The movement of organism in response to light. This movement may be towards the light or against the light. Okay, or away from the light. For example, moth. Moth means the small insect-like organism. So this moth always moving towards the light. So it is called positive photosynthesis. Understand a few? Then example, second one example, earthworm. Earthworm is always moving away from the light. So it is called negative phototaxis. Okay, so phototaxis meaning the movement of organism in response to light. So this movement may be towards the light or opposite or away from the light. Understand a few? Then next 2 mark question, phototrophism. Phototrophism meaning growth of organism in response to light. Here also 2 types of phototrophism is there, positive phototrophism and negative phototrophism. Here positive phototrophism meaning the movement of, the growth of organism in response to towards the light. Okay, the growth of organism towards the light is called positive phototrophism. Example, sunflower. Okay, and the negative phototrophism meaning the growth of organism in response is the opposite or away from the light is called negative phototrophism. Okay, example, the roots of the plants. Okay, dear students. And the third question, photokinesis. Okay, changes in the speed of movement. Changes in the speed of movement or locomotion in response to light is called photokinesis. Understand? So similarly, so the photokinesis meaning the movement of organism in response to light is called phototaxis. And this movement may be towards the light or away from the light. And the second one is phototrophism, the growth of organism in response to light. Here also the growth may be towards the light or away from the light. And the last one is photokinesis, the changes the speed of movement in response to light is called photokinesis. Hope you are understood. So these three are 2 mark questions there. So dear students, now we completed the second abiotic factor, light. Then the third factor is water. Okay, the third abiotic factor is water. See, actually water is also one of the very important essential factors, abiotic factors. Without water, maximum living organism cannot survive in the earth. Okay, and 3/4 of the earth's surface is covered with water. Okay, 3/4 of the earth's surface is covered with water. So it's the first point. And there are 2 types of water is present. Water is classified into 2 types. One is fresh water and second one is salt water or marine water. Okay, salt water or marine water, example sea water we can say. Fresh water, example we can say river and lakes. Okay, then next one is the water is available in 3 states or 3 conditions. Liquid condition, then gaseous condition, and also in solid condition. So solid, liquid and gaseous. So these 3 are the 3 conditions of the water. Understand of you? Then next point, based on the salt present or dissolved inside the water is classified into 2 types, hot water and soft water. If the concentration of the salt is very high in water, that water is called hot water. If the salt concentration is very low in the water, that water is called salt water. Understand of you? Then this hot water is again classified into 2 types. One is temporary hot water and the second one is permanent hot water. Here temporary hot water meaning if the salt, all the salt concentrations are removed from the water when it is boiled, it is called temporary hot water. Okay, so when we boil the water, if the salt molecules are removed from the water, that hot water is called temporary hot water. If the salt molecules are not removed when boiled, it is called, that water is called permanent hot water. Understand, dear students? So now we completed a small introduction about the water. So first point I said 3/4 of the earth's surface is covered with water, first point. And the second point I said about the types. There are 2 types of water is there. One is fresh water and the second one is salt water or marine water. And the third point is it is available, the water is available in 3 conditions. Okay, liquid, gaseous and solid condition. And the next I said about the hot water and soft water. If the concentration of the salt is very high in water, that water is called hot water, and if salt concentration is very low, that water is called soft water. Okay, then the hot water is again classified into 2 types. When the salt concentrations are removed from the hot water when it is boiled, it is called temporary hot water. If the salt concentration is not removed, that water is called permanent hot water. Understand, dear students? So now we have completed a small introduction about the water. Then one of the very important 5-mark question: essential properties of water. Essential properties of water. So listen very carefully, dear students. So the first property of the water is phylogenesis. Phylogenesis meaning the process of formation of soil is called phylogenesis. So the water is one of the very important medium for the formation of soil. Water is one of the very important medium for the formation of soil. So this is the first properties of water. And the second property is it is acting as very important medium for the survival of water living organisms. The water living organism or the aquatic organism cannot live without water. So water playing a very important role in the life of the aquatic organism. So water is acting as a medium for aquatic or water living organism. So this is the second property of water. Then the third one is water is available in the atmosphere in the form of moisture. In the form of moisture. Okay, invisible water molecules are present in the atmosphere. So it is called moisture. Understand? So the third property is water is available in the atmosphere in the form of moisture. Then the next property is uneven distribution. That means the water is not equally distributed everywhere. That means in some places the amount of water is very low, in some places the amount of water is very high, and in some places there is no water. Understand? So the water, the presence or absence of water is differ from area to area. So it is unevenly distributed. So this is the next property. Okay. Then the water is very heavier than the air molecule. The weight of the water is very high than the air. Then next one is buoyancy. Water is used to float. Okay, sorry. While some organism and some substance are always floating inside the water or outer surface of the water. This is because of the presence of this buoyancy nature. Understand that, dear students? So now we have completed many properties. Then the next property is water having high heat capacity. High heat capacity means the water can withhold its heat for more times, many times. Okay, because of this reason only, the largest water bodies like a river, lake, ocean, like these water bodies are always keeping a constant temperature inside. Understand? So the heating capacity of the water is very high. Heating capacity of the water is very high. Then next one is physically inactive. Next property is physically inactive. Physically inactive means, say, when the water is in solid condition. Solid means ice. Example, we can say ice. So when the water is in solid condition, its density is very less. Its density is very less than the liquid water. Okay. So physically inactive means its density is very less when the water is in solid condition than the liquid condition. Hope you are understood. Then next property is water can freeze at 0 degrees Celsius. Okay, so when the temperature of the water is reduced for 0 degrees Celsius, it will start to freeze. Understand? Then its maximum density, the water's maximum density is occur at about 4 degrees Celsius. Okay, so when the water is in 4 degrees Celsius, its density is very high. Its density is very high. Then next one is, it is a universal solvent. Water is a universal solvent. So water is used to dissolve many substances. Okay, so many substances can dissolve inside the water. So water is called universal solvent. Understand? And next one is transport. Say, many chemical substances present inside the water bodies is moving from the abiotic factors to living factors through the water. Okay, abiotic factor means non-living things, biotic factors means living things. Okay, so the chemicals which are present inside the water bodies is moving from the non-living things to the living things body through the water. That's the meaning of this transport. Okay, then next one is the last property of the water is high surface tension. Okay, the water surface tension is very high. Because of this reason only, the dust, pollens, like that, some substance, some heavier monobated substance are always floating on the surface of the water. It will not submerge or enter inside the water bodies. Understand? So high molecule weight substances are always floating on the surface of the water because its surface tension is very high. Understand, my dear students? So hope you are understood all these properties. So once again repeat all the properties of the water. First one is cryogenics, meaning the process of formation of soil is called cryogenics. So here the water playing a very important role in the formation of soil. So it is one of the very important properties of water. And the second one is medium. Okay, many living organisms, aquatic organisms are living inside the water bodies already. So water is acting as a medium for aquatic organism. Next one is moisture. Water is available in the atmosphere in the form of invisible moisture. Then uneven distribution, meaning the water is not equally distributed everywhere. The presence or absence of water is different in one place to another place. Then it is very heavier than the air molecules and has a greater buoyancy capacity. Buoyancy capacity means because of this capacity only some aquatic organisms and some substances are always floating above the water surface. The high heat capacity, the heating capacity of the water is very high, so that it can withhold more heat for more times. Then physically inactive. Physically inactive because of this character only, its density is very less when it is in solid condition than the liquid condition. And the water can freeze at 0 degrees Celsius and maximum density of the water is occurring at 4 degrees Celsius. Understand a few? Then next, water is otherwise called a universal solvent because it can dissolve many substances. So that it is called a universal solvent. And next I said about the transport. Transport means some chemicals present inside the water bodies is moving from the abiotic factor to the biotic factor through the water. And the last one is it has high surface tension. Because of this reason only, some heavy molecules, weighted molecules are always floating on the surface of the water body. So, my dear students, so hope you all understood. So today we have completed two important abiotic factors, light and water, and we have studied one important 5-mark question, the essential properties of water. Understand, my dear students? So hope you all enjoyed today's class. Study these properties of water and we can meet in the next class. Thank you.